With a lot of gun violence going on, there's a lot of talks about banning guns completely.
What's necessary is that we have an assault weapons ban and a ban on large magazines. This is life-shattering.
But is that the real solution? And have we tried this before? Welcome to Don't Trust What You See. The thing is that most people see guns as bad things, but that just is not the case. If we ban guns, how would people protect themselves? And if we ban guns altogether, you really think criminals that are breaking the law by killing and shooting at other people are going to care if it's against the law to have a gun? No. They are not going to care, and they're still going to get those guns through the black market. And finally, if we ban guns, the 1.67 million people, that's 31.6% of all gun owners that reported that they used their gun at least one time for self-defense would have no way of protecting themselves. According to the American Gun Facts, the data that we have available isn't taking in for account the times people use a gun to prevent a crime from happening. It's like a double-edged sword, because if a crime didn't happen, then there is no crime report. But if the gun was used to prevent the crime, then it's still not reported. See where I'm going with this? But if we were to take a look at the available facts, we can see, according to a national firearms survey, it determined that 1.67 million crimes were stopped using a gun. That's 31% of people that took the survey said that their gun was used at least once for self-defense purposes. Out of those people, 50.9% said that they used their gun without shooting one bullet. 79.1% of people used their gun at home, and 9.1% of people used it at any public place to prevent a crime. If we were to look at this data from the American Gun Facts and the survey from the National Firearms Survey, we can see that guns stop crime from happening most of the time in the home. How about we look at the long list of available data points we have? We can see that as gun ownership rose in the United States, violence decreased, and here's why. According to the CDC, there are 7 firearm-related homicides for every 100,000 Americans in 1993. And if we look at 2013, the most recent year available, the gun homicide rates has fallen by nearly 50% to only 3.6 homicides per 100,000 people. According to the Washington Post, even as certain types of mass shootings is apparently becoming more frequent, America has become a much less violent place. Also, if we were to take a look at the data from a 2012 Congressional Research Service and another report labeled "There are more guns than people in the United States," we can see that the number of privately owned firearms in the United States increased from about 185 million in 1993 to 357 million in 2013. Adjusted for the United States population, the number of guns per American increased from 0.93 per person in 1993 to 1.45 per person in 2013, which is a 56% increase in the number of guns per person that occurred during the same period when gun violence decreased by 49%. Of course, that significant correlation doesn't necessarily imply causation, but it's logical to believe that these two trends are related. Also, even if you're not convinced that increased gun ownership reduces violent crime and gun homicides, you should be totally convinced of this fact. Gun violence has been decreasing significantly over time, not increasing. The gun-related homicide rate of 3.6 deaths per 100,000 people in each of these years, 2010, 2011, and 2013, makes those recent years the safest in at least 20 years, and possibly the safest in modern US history, since according to the Washington Post, older data before 1993 suggests that gun violence might have been even more widespread previously. And lastly, according to Governor Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, they are not dumb, because they picked their targets, and they know. The Buffalo mass shooter said that he wanted to go where he knew that he wouldn't have a blowback from people being armed, and so he tried to find a gun-free zone. He said, referring to the gunman who murdered 10 people at the grocery store in Buffalo, New York in May. And finally, if we ban guns, the 1.67 million people, that's 31.6% of all gun owners that reported that they used their gun at least one time for self-defense would have no way of protecting themselves. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you learned something from this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe down below for weekly content. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great one.